Hi and welcome! So today I would like to show you how to shoot film. Some of you might remember the times when you actually had to print your pictures out to view them, and it was a truly different experience. It was all the fun of going to the photography store to develop your negatives, to print your pictures, to put in your photo album, share with your friends or family. Now it's much different, but you can still shoot film. And actually in the last years, more and more people start to shoot film again. So today I would like to briefly explain you the basics on how to shoot 35mm negative film. So there are different types of cameras, but the most common type is the 35mm format of film, which is the film you can get at any drugstore or bigger shop. And yeah, there are also like different generations of cameras. So for example, old cameras like this, either they didn't have a built-in light meter, or they had a light meter, but you still had to set your exposure, so the brightness or your images manually. Then you have like later cameras which have a built-in light meter and they automatically set your exposure. However, you have to manually focus, so they don't have an autofocus like cameras today. And like in the 1980s, cameras were developed with autofocus, so with these cameras you don't have to focus manually, and also the exposure is set automatically. But for me, like, it's most fun to shoot with this kind of cameras where you focus manually. It's more fun, and yeah, but still it's easier to take good pictures than with a camera where you have to set your exposure manually. It can be very challenging sometimes. So my favorite camera is the Minolta XD7, or it's called in the US it's called XD11. And some people say it was the best Minolta camera ever built. And I kind of agree with that. So when it was first released, it costed like what would be today 1,500 euros. So it was rather an expensive camera, and it was the first camera, for example, to offer both aperture and shutter priority modes and many other features. So I won't go so much into detail, but basically you can use any camera, and the things I will explain you today will be very similar. First, what you need to shoot film is obviously a camera. A camera consists out of a camera body and a lens. Also, you'll need some film. So yeah, first let's explain what is a camera. Partly, for a camera you need a camera body, as I said before, and a camera lens. So there are different types of lenses. For example, this one is a 50mm lens, and the focal length is kind of the angle of the lens, of the view of the lens. So wide angle lenses like the 24mm give you like a wider angle, so they allow you, for example, to shoot landscapes and like inside buildings. Then like 50mm is, for example, a nice focal length to shoot portraits. And of course, when you want to have like close-ups, when you do like some, for example, sports photography or wildlife, you want to get a telephoto lens. Lenses that are fixed focal length and zoom lenses. So with fixed focal length lenses, you don't have any zoom, but usually they have like better image quality. While with zoom lenses you can change the focal length, so you can zoom. So for example, this lens has a focal length of 70 to 210, and yeah, you can simply change the focal length. So how do actually film cameras work like? So it's quite simple. First, the light passes through the lens, through the shutter, and then it lands on the film. So right now we don't have any film loaded, but later I will show you how to load film. And the film is inside the camera, and as long as the shutter is open, light falls onto the film and the film gets exposed. So what is actually exposure? So exposure is the, let's say, brightness of your images. And exposure depends on three factors. The first one is aperture, the second one is shutter speed, and the third one is film sensitivity. So let's briefly talk about it. So aperture refers to the opening of the lens, which lets light through the lens into the camera. The bigger the opening, so the aperture, the more light gets into the camera and the brighter the image is. Also, like, bigger apertures have lead to a smaller depth of view. So for example, you notice pictures where the background is very blurry but the subject is sharp. So this is how you do it. You set a big aperture, and then here we go. So how about shutter speed? So shutter speed refers to the time the shutter is open and lets light into the camera. So the longer the shutter speed, the more light gets into the camera and the brighter your image will be. Also, so let's see how this works. So for example, this is the shutter speed of 1 second. And now to compare, let's see what a shutter speed of 1,000th of a second is. So this is very fast. And obviously, like, longer shutter speed lets more light into the camera, and also, like, when you have things that are in motion, they get blurry at longer shutter speeds. So this is another thing to consider. As mentioned before, the third part is film sensitivity. So in digital cameras you have something like ISO, and also, like, for film you have different ISO. So for example, this is a 400 ISO film, then we have like 200 ISO film, and some film is, for example, 100 ISO. So basically with film is, the lower the ISO is, the smaller is the grain, and the bigger the ISO is, the bigger is the grain. So the higher the ISO, the more sensitive your film will be to light. So you don't need as long exposure shutter speeds or as large apertures. You can, for example, shoot in the dark with high ISO film. However, high speed film, so with high ISO, has a worse image quality, let's just say. So you will see like grain. So basically it works like higher ISO film has larger crystals that capture light, and these crystals will appear on the photographs as grain. So let's see what informations are given on film. The first information you will notice is the film speed. Here it's 400. So this is like a very high speed film, let's say. It's not very fast because there used to be like 1,600 films, but this is 400, so it's more than, for example, the Kodak Gold, which is ISO 200. The next thing is the number of exposures. You can see it here. So with this film lets you take 36 pictures. The last thing is the expiry date. Here it's August 2019. So you should develop this film before August 2019. So now I would like to show you how to load film into the camera. So to open the camera, just put this part up and pull it. This will open the back door of the camera. Now get your film, put like this. So insert your film, then put this down, insert your film like this in the holder, and press the shutter button and advance your film. Do this a few times and close the door. Now you want to advance your film until here the number 1 appears. So this is your first frame of the film. And make sure this part rotates. If it doesn't rotate, it means that your film is not inserted properly. So this is how you insert film. And now you can start taking photos. Now there are some things you need to consider with film. First thing is, never open the door when film is loaded. This will destroy all your images, and yeah, you won't see anything when you go and develop them. The other thing is, film is light sensitive, so never put your film into checked bags at the airport. Only carry them in carry-ons, because the X-ray machines that X-ray the checked bags are much stronger than the machines that X-ray the carry-on baggage. So these are two things to consider. And now we can start taking pictures. So now I would like to show you how to actually take pictures with a Minolta XT7. So first you want to set your film speed. So I have a 200 ISO film, so I set the film speed here by pressing this button and rotating this dial. So I usually use the aperture priority mode, which means that I set the aperture manually and the camera adjusts the shutter speed automatically. So first thing you should do is focus. So when you will first look at through the viewfinder, you will see that the image is a bit blurry. So what you want to do is rotate the focus ring until the image is sharp. So actually in the middle you will see there is like a circle that's divided into parts, and when the two parts align, then the image will be sharp. Once you have set your focus, you have to set your aperture by rotating the aperture ring. So let's set an aperture of 2.8. Now press the shutter button slightly. This will indicate which shutter speed will be used by the camera, by the red LED. Now press the shutter button to take a picture. Now advance your film and you're ready to take the next picture. So once you have taken your 36 pictures, you have to rewind the film and to take it out of the camera. To do so, press this button here and then rewind your film. Make sure you don't open the camera before rewinding the film. So just turn this part until there is no tension. Then pull this part up, open the door, and here you go. Well, usually this film is in the film carriage, but this is just my film to test cameras. So yeah. now you can take out your film and develop the film. So maybe in the next video I will talk about where you can develop your film and what to do next. I hope you liked this video. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel and see you next time.